Today's 22-year-old is actually very different from his father, and the father is copying him. मैं ट्राइसिकल चलाता था 4 साल की उम्र में, वो भी हेलमेट पहन के, पापा हेलमेट पहन के मोटरसाइकिल चलाते थे, मेरे को हेलमेट पहननी है. So I felt like मेरा वो DNA था, and I feel like if you make a good product, the 3 parts, right? Aspiration, value, delight. 200 रुपए का फोम खरीदा यार, 6 महीने से चल ही जा रहा है. I get complaints, एक फोम खत्म नहीं हो रहा है, कुछ गलत है क्या इसमें? You know, modern trade, most of the products are a combination of मैदा, palm oil, sugar, आलू. यही है 4-5 चीजें. हर चीज में आलू. I think one of the most underspoken about trait of founders is survival. They can go through shit, but they'll survive. And if you survive, you will thrive. The podcast is one big part, or
that is one. The second is getting deals for my marketing company.
Okay.
So I run a marketing company called MarketUp.
Okay.
जिसमें हम कंपनीज को हेल्प करते हैं विद यूट्यूब. मेरी बहुत टाइम से इच्छा थी कि आई हैव सीन सो मेनी कंपनीज बर्न मनी इन एड्स. तो आई वांटेड टू शो देम दैट देयर इज अनदर वे दैट यू कैन ग्रो इफ यू जेन्युइनली क्रिएट वायरल कंटेंट. मैंने किताब पढ़ी थी जो कि इक्सिगो के सीएमओ की थी, विच इज़ कॉल्ड फास्ट चीप एंड वायरल. तो वो किताब से मुझे आइडिया आया कि आई शुड genuinely create viral content. अच्छा बनाएंगे तो लोग automatically share करेंगे.
Correct.
So a content piece which has no selling is the best sales content.
Correct.
So
people don't realize that, by the way.
Yeah, exactly.
People think, especially brand managers and all think, अरे मेरा logo किधर है, मेरा ये किधर है, मेरा वो किधर. They don't realize that the consumer has so much fatigue to advertising. The moment they see advertising content, they'll be like,
आप ad नहीं चलाते?
हम तो चलाते हैं यार, हमको तो चलाना पड़ता है, but हमारा बहुत मार्केटिंग इज नाउ नॉन ब्रांडेड स्टफ. लॉट ऑफ आवर एड्स आर नॉन ब्रांडेड.
नॉन ब्रांड मतलब क्या होता है?
मतलब वी विल नॉट पुट द लोगो और द सेलिंग ऑफ प्रोडक्ट अलॉट. वी आर डूइंग थिंग्स अराउंड जेन जी, अराउंड बिहेवियर, वॉक्स पॉप्स, बार्बर शॉप. इस प्रकार का कंटेंट बहुत ज़्यादा है हमारा.
यहाँ पे क्यों रहते हैं आप दिल्ली में?
यार गुड़गांव office is now Gurgaon. Earlier we started very close to Saket only. Select Study Walk के बाजू में हमारा ऑफिस था.
अच्छा, DLF एवेन्यू.
DLF क्या नाम था उसका? Square One Mall. मतलब Select Study Walk के बाजू वाला एक वो कमर्शियल बिल्डिंग था. Actually 2-3 चीज़ें हैं. एक तो the manufacturing ecosystem in North India is very good for personal care. तो हिमाचल, उत्तराखंड, राजस्थान, वो बेल्ट में we have very good factories for our kind of products.
तो आपने पूरा वर्टिकल इंटीग्रेशन करा हुआ है.
हमको एक्सेस टू कॉन्ट्रैक्ट मैन्युफैक्चरिंग चाहिए था. आई डिडंट वांट टू स्पेंड अ लॉट ऑफ मनी मेकिंग इट इन हिमाचल एंड देन ट्रांसपोर्टिंग इट टू बॉम्बे और पूना और बैंगलोर, एटलीस्ट इनिशियली. दिल्ली वाज अ गुड प्लेस एंड दिल्ली से आउटबाउंड लॉजिस्टिक्स वाज आल्सो चीपर. ऑल्सो दिल्ली वाज कंपेयर टू मुंबई वेरी चीप ऑन रेंट. And third thing was talent was very amply available. It's still very amply available. I think Delhi is the best country to start a company today. So if you look at that,
बैंगलोर नहीं है
मेरे हिसाब से बिल्कुल भी नहीं है.
तो यू थिंक दिल्ली इज बेटर देन बैंगलोर?
1000%.
ऐसा क्यों?
यार मेरे को थोड़ा दिल्ली में थोड़ा वो लेस फ्रॉथ मोर सब्सटेंस वाला माइंडसेट लगता है.
फ्रॉथ मतलब ऑल फंडिंग नो रेवेन्यू टाइप.
हाँ, मतलब नॉट नो रेवेन्यू बट people go after like shiny new objects. Like Bangalore is very similar to Silicon Valley. So there's a much higher chance of very disruptive business coming out of Bangalore compared to Delhi. But the average high quality business, more chance of it coming out of Delhi than Bangalore. I think 2-3 reasons. Delhi mein, at least when I started, I had a lot of access to great talent. So Zomato, at that time Snapdeal, Delivery, Rivigo, Jabong, Paytm, ये तो मैं I can count off the top of my head, but there were at least 20 more very good quality. Food Panda, very good quality businesses from a Oyo, from an execution standpoint. Like they had tremendous execution muscle. They still do, a lot of these companies, right? So talent from there was very good, right? And second, I think that Delhi has a very strong business culture. Like you see the average SME owner or the average business person in Delhi, it's a very strong business community. Bangalore and Pune are more service oriented kind of communities. What was like after the big IT boom of Infosys and Wipro, the kind of companies that have come out of Bangalore versus come out of Delhi are very different. Like Delhi, Bombay have created a lot more industrial outcomes compared to
वो मैंने ऑब्जर्व किया था. मैंने पिछले साल किताब लिखी थी एक अनलॉकिंग यूनिकॉर्न सीक्रेट के नाम से.
हाँ क्या था
इन विच इट वाज बेसिकली लाइक मेरा और मेरे दोस्त का प्रोजेक्ट था. तो ही इज अ सीए. ही हैड वर्कड इन द इन्वेस्टिंग आर्म ऑफ आदित्य बिरला ग्रुप. So he had some idea of startups and all. So he was interested into that. हम मिले 2022 में. फिर we thought कि let's do something together. तो he had this idea कि जब book लिखते हैं अच्छा लगेगा. We'll get to meet founders. तो I said कि let's do that. And that turned into this 1.5 year long project in which we went to offices of $1 billion companies in India and we interviewed the founders.
That's awesome.
For 1.5 hour long. Didn't make it for YouTube. We recorded the interview and then we actually turned that into a book. And then we published that last year by Penguin. So
what's the top 2-3 insights that you remember which were very counterintuitive?
See, that's the thing. The whole book is a big paradox in itself. Because हमने realize किया कि like the name of the book is Unicorn Secret.
Okay.
So people would expect कुछ secret होगा at the end. कुछ path होगा, कुछ road map होगा. But सबसे बड़ा secret यही है कि कोई secret ही नहीं है. And I think that is the thing you wanted to break. Like लोगों को लगता है ऐसा कि अच्छा आप ऐसे करोगे तो ही आप सक्सेसफुल हो सकते हो. अगर co-founder नहीं है तो आप you cannot do that. अगर आप मुंबई बैंगलोर दिल्ली में नहीं हो तो आप नहीं कर सकते हो. अगर आपके पास बहुत सारी फंडिंग नहीं है तो आप नहीं कर सकते हो. तो ये सारे जो लोगों के पास ऐसे बिलीफ होते हैं तो वो वी वांटेड टू ब्रेक बिकॉज वी हैव सीन दी स्टोरीज अप क्लोज. क्योंकि स्पेशली कुशल हैड सीन दोज अप क्लोज. तो ही हैड दिस आइडिया.
Kushal is CA friend.
Kushal is the CA friend. Kushal Lodha, he's a creator on I think you know him.
He was like a CA top ranker.
Yeah.
अरे dude, I dropped a message on LinkedIn. कुछ तो मैंने उसको मैसेज लिखा था कि अपन काम करेंगे साथ में. कुछ तो किसी
I told him today कि I'm gonna meet you. He was super excited.
उसको याद तक कि I have sent him.
हाँ. He knows. He's like I'm looking forward to meeting him Monday as well.
हाँ, I really wanted to meet him. वो अहमदाबाद he was.
No, he's in Mumbai, Lower Parel.
Mumbai based. अच्छा.
Yeah.
I remember very impressive guy. He used to write very good. I don't know whether he still does, but I remember reading a lot of very cool things he wrote on LinkedIn.
He's a master at writing.
I know.
So his communication, his writing ability, his storytelling, he has learned a lot. And I've learned a lot from him.
How do you have friends from school?
He reached out to me in 2021 to interview me on his channel. I was just a very weird TG for him because he's considered a CA and I'm very far away from CA. I was an engineer back then, trying to be an engineer and then dropped out the next year. But then he became a client of my company. And then we just used to help him with his content. Then he just became a friend. So I used to visit Mumbai often. So we used to meet, hang out. Then we took this whole project. So we observed this thing like you were talking about, right? So the first podcast we ever did, the interview was with Ashish Mohapatra of business. Yeah. So exceptional execution guy. I met him. Like the best thing about him was that there was no like hierarchy that we had to pass through. He just replied and he said ki cool, I'll see you there. We reached to the reception and he comes to like receive us. And that was all very weird, very new to us because normally क्या होता है ऐसे कोई there's some person then they will drop you to some person and then you will get to meet the founder, but that was actually unconventional.
Yeah, Ashish and Ruchi have been like this since the very beginning.
Yeah.
Like very non-hierarchical, very like even now they're amongst the top most successful young age entrepreneurs in India today. But when you talk to them, you'll never feel like that's who you're talking to. It always feels like a regular person.
Why do you think that there are very few like say couples building a big company? Like we've only seen Mama Earth and now.
It's hard, man. It's hard. I think 2-3 reasons. One is, I think it's a very involved thing to build a company. It sucks your emotions and mind space completely to do something which a lot of people will think is irrational, which has got a high risk element to it, which has got very backloaded financial rewards to it, if at all, in a very low probabilistic scenario, right? तो ये सारी चीज़ें जो है ना ये आदमी को स्ट्रेस देती हैं and you typically look at family to take that stress away and you want to like switch off because otherwise you will never do that. So the reason why like husband wife doing it means that you never switch off. The chances that you will actually switch off is extremely low, and I think that's the fundamental reason why I think it's a very brave decision to do it together. But to see Varun and Ghazal, to do it, the way they do it is amazing. Like they have I've hung out with them socially. They don't talk about Mama Earth socially at all. They're always talking about their kids, or they're talking about.
Varun seems like the brain of it all, and like Ghazal seems like the heart.
Oh no, I don't think so. No, I don't. I used to think that way for a long time. And,
Okay. And then?
Maybe it was a very gender stereotype thing, because you think that the woman is like the face and the pretty one, and the man is the brain. But no, man. I think she's the engine.
Oh wow.
I think she is the one who like really sits next to the consumers. She is the one who really understands what will differentiate a product. I think she's also the one that understands the pulse of people very well inside the organization. My respect for that couple has actually gone through the roof over the last 2-3 years. Like maybe from a year or two before they went public. For a long time, and I told this to them, for a long time I thought they were just very lucky. They were just lucky to get Shilpa Shetty. They were lucky to be in a large market. They were just lucky to kind of find a couple of good manufacturers. But no, man, I think they are very, very purposeful, and I think she drives a lot of that ethos. I think Varun is a fantastic operator, detail-oriented, strategic thinker. I think he'll put the jigsaw pieces in place beautifully. But I think Ghazal's the one drawing on it.
Wow.
I think that's how I would describe that couple. I think they're fantastic together. So if you have that kind of Kaushik and Vinita at Sugar, for example, very, very complementary. I know both of them individually, but again, very complementary. So I think if you have that kind of chemistry, you have that kind of vibe, you have that ability to take risk appetites, then I think they both are parents. So they come back home to kids and parents, and so I think that's there. And I think, for example, Ghazal and Varun take a lot of vacations together. If you follow them on social, they seem to be having a lot more fun.
They do all these trends, and I'm like, bhai, who are they?
They seem to have a lot more fun than they should. But I think that's where they get there. They have their fun, and I think that's okay. So if you have that, it's good. Otherwise, I think it's a very difficult call.
Yeah, but what we've seen in the last couple of years is that creators wanting to be executors and founders, and founders wanting to be creators, and you're a prime example of that. But why does this happen exactly?
In my case, it was very particular, because my brand, like I have two brands, Bombay Shaving Company and Bombay. And I'll talk about Bombay Shaving Company because it's the older brand. Bombay is our women's brand, which is only 2.5 years old. Bombay Shaving Company, Ishan, actually has very little word of mouth. और मैं कितना भी कर लूँ ना, उसका word of mouth कम ही होगा. Because मेरा product जो है ना, मेरा user individually use करता है bathroom के अंदर. Right? Like he's privately using it.
Yeah.
And he never talks about it. It's a category that people don't talk about. Unlike, for example, Bombay or Mama Earth or Sugar, where two girlfriends or two sisters or mother-daughter, immediate conversation कि I love your lip color. कहाँ से लिया? अरे मैंने Sugar से लिया यार, Nykaa पे सेल चल रही है. या फिर try out this shade, it's really pretty.
No one's gonna ask you, nice shave, bro. Nice shave, what did you use?
Or like, for example, you won't even if you and I are bald men.
Yeah.
Only then will you say, hey, I love the shine on your head, dude. How do you get this done? Because it's a very specific. Otherwise, men don't talk. So if men don't talk, then the brand has to talk, and the brand cannot talk by selling. We'll never match the budgets of our competitors. So like, how do we become center to culture without investing the media money? So how do we be organic? So then how do we do what you do so well, which is create amazing content? And we're like, who are we? We're a young challenger brand. So we are entrepreneurial in nature. We are rebellious. We are outlaws. So who are we if you were to personify BSC? We're an entrepreneur. We're actually entrepreneurs. We're challengers, and we break status quo. So then let's make entrepreneurship our thing. So how do we do that? Let's have conversations around entrepreneurship. Who can do that? Shantanu does that pretty well on LinkedIn. Let's see whether he can do it on a podcast. So 2022, that's how the idea started. We need Bombay Shaving Company to be known. We can't do it through advertising it. So let's create some. That's how it started. There's not much more science to it. And it kind of grew. And now we drive a lot of our organic funnels through Barbershop, which works very well.
But what do you think about this whole trend, right? Like we've seen Nikhil Kamath doing WTF.
Yeah.
We've seen plenty of other founders as well. Even I met Akash of Zip Electric, and he's starting his podcast as well. Yeah. He interviewed Sanjay Bikhchandani sir, which was insane. So why is this happening so much now? And why do then creators want to be founders?
दो चीजें हैं, right? I think so. Let me answer the first question. Why founders are doing it? I think clutter बहुत है life में, right? if you want your brand to be known, I think people are realizing that younger consumers especially are asking who's behind the brand. They want to know who's the founder. They want to know what's the ethos, office kahan pe hai, Glassdoor pe unka review kya hai, etc. Right? That's how they attach themselves to a brand, not just the ads. Like a 25-year-old consumer would attach herself to Cadbury Dairy Milk through one or two ads in 1990s. But today she wants to know, is it a sustainable brand? What's the sugar content in it? What's the global CEO saying about it? Why does Shashank at Whole Truth do what he does so well?
Yeah.
Because he really is telling the story, because he knows his consumers are reading everything on the back. The food farmer has kind of gone and told the world कि तुमको पूरा पीछे का पढ़ना है. Shashank
He has flipped everything. Ingredients inside, अभी बाहर ही लिख दिया ऊपर.
So Shashank is figured. So I think founders have realized that telling stories is a powerful way to build. Second is, if a founder builds strong social following, he or she builds a media channel for their company. So I think that's why founders are doing it. I think founders need to do it with a purpose. It should not be to become popular or famous. That's a good outcome of it, but it does not solve for your brand's growth or your company's growth if you're doing it just for that. But I think any founder like Akash, I don't know Akash well, but I'm assuming if he comes and talks about Zip Electric or takes on mobility, or Nikhil, for example, talks so much about financial independence, and his Ranbir Kapoor conversation was just phenomenal.
Yeah.
Like, he went so deep in a lot of like areas which people don't know. Like, founders are that way intelligent, articulate people for the most part, right? If they're able to break open topics like entrepreneurship for you and me, I think that's a powerful thing to do. I think more of it should happen. More of it. Whether it achieves what they wanted to achieve is, I think, secondary. Viewers like us have always end up having a lot of fun, so that's good. I think on the second part, which is creators becoming founders, like, I think, creators are realizing entrepreneurship is a very interesting space from a content standpoint. Everyone's interested in it.
But it has never worked in its full capacity yet in the Indian landscape.
Yeah.
We've always seen people launch like merch brand, or the best example is Shlok, the tech burner, launching the overlays, skins for phones and all. But we haven't seen like a proper brand come out from YouTube. Obviously, there is an academy from Gaurav Manjal and all. Yeah. But that was like a different concept from a long time ago.
Good question, actually. I think Byju's was a good example, right? Byju's was a teacher who took content and built out a whole company out of it. Now, the outcome of that company
no more.
No, but I think the thesis was still very powerful, which is, if you can make, and he made I don't know whether you know Byju's story, by the way. Byju Ravindran was famous in Bangalore for getting 100 percentile every year in CAT year on year. So when he used to take sessions, he would fill up stadiums. वो ट्यूशन क्लास टीचर थे वो कैट के लिए, लेकिन उनके क्लास में हजारों, मतलब 10,000 kids would sit in one class. He would fill up a stadium. That was his genesis. And then he converted that into content and started building out Byju's, which became like, instead he's like 10,000 लोगों से क्या होगा, मेरे को तो लाखों को रीच करना है एक साथ. So content creation to business monetization is not a new thing, but creator to business is, I think, a newer thing. I think Tanmay does a fantastic job. I think people like you have huge opportunity, because you will actually be very efficient at getting the top of funnel CACs right.
Yeah.
Right? You will get sampling done very quickly. I think Tanmay does a fantastic job. He's not built out a brand, but I think he's built out amazing businesses through his content. So
he has solved out the whole funnel for himself. I feel like top of the funnel, all those roast wale video. Bottom of the funnel is like those Solana wala content which he creates and everything. And we're like, bhai, kya bana raha hai banda? Samajh hi nahi aa raha kahan se kahan.
But creators, also companies take time to build, right, Ishan? I think content creation is still like a 4-5-year-old phenomenon at scale broadly in India. I think businesses take 8, 9, 10 years to build out. So some of the businesses that, let's say, Raj is doing with House of X, Shlok, you're saying, is doing that skins brand. I think Parul Gulati is doing something very cool. I think
niche hair,
right? I think some of this content to commerce and enterprise build will happen over some time. I think people will figure it out. But frankly, they'll solve for a large moat, which is awareness of the brand. So that's a good thing.
Have you read the Paul Graham Founder Mode article?
I saw some excerpts about it, which is founder mode में ऐसा करना चाहिए and you should like kind of always hustle and that's why founders are different from managers. I read some of that but I did not read it in detail to have a very strong point of view. But tell me what do you think about it?
No, I just had that. It came to my mind when I was telling you that I saw the pop-up store in the Mumbai airport of Bombay Shaving Club company, Barber Shop. And then like you said कि अच्छा हाँ वो उसका expense ये है but it makes this much money. मतलब that is crazy. Like you have that awareness about every single minute place where something is actually being sold. And that is the best example of founder mode, like that you're so involved in the operations of it.
So good, that's a good point, right? I think I'm actually, compared to the average entrepreneur, I'm actually a little more distanced from my business than one might imagine. I know the three most important things that are important for the business to achieve over the next 3 to 6 months. Within those, I know certain anecdotal / data driven points, but I don't know the business like the back of my hand on every element of the business. And I think one of my skills is prioritization. So I know how to identify the three most important things for any team within the company or any senior leader within the company. And I think that's my hack, which actually means that because I know those three, I probably don't know 7 other things in the company. And that's okay. Once those other 7 become important, they'll kind of bubble up to the top of my priority list also. But because EBOs, which is exclusive brand outlets, like the one you saw at the airport, they're a very big part of our growth story.
Oh, wow.
We believe that if we take a wall in an airport and really show our trimmers and fragrances and perfumes and razors, that from, let's say, 50 meters, 30 meters to 30 meters, so a 60 meter range of vision, and the person is walking, he will always look. And we have a full shelf to show. And this is like thousands of people every day. It's clean marketing, plus sampling, plus fragrance, touch and feel, sensory. So then, if we can do this in 100 airports, and here's the real outcome. And that's what we are pushing the team on. Because in 5 years, we want to be in 100 airports, doing this much revenue per month, because Bombay could do this much.
How do you prioritize for what is important?
In decreasing order of profit and then decreasing order of revenue. So find the largest profit pool by initiative and go after the largest ones. Simple. Then if profit pools are smaller but revenue pools are larger, go after that. And then if both are not there, not a priority. Or if both are not there but it'll take 4 years, not a priority right now. So profit pool, revenue pool, and then.
What's fascinating to me about like the B2C business in India is that I've always been cautioned by people that I know who've built companies. They were like, यार ईशान B2B बनाओ, B2C मत करना, बहुत BT होगी. And so that is why what I built, the marketing agency, has always catered to businesses and not to creators or individuals per se all the time. But what do you think are the challenges that come when you build like a B2C company, the one that you are building sort of in your space in India, which has the discretionary spending is lesser, let's just say that, compared to US. I was in US for 45 days abhi, and I just saw a whole different world compared to India, and wanted to know your thought on that.
Yeah, so my dad built out a B2B business end to end. So my dad was in IT industry for many years, in the 70s, 80s and 90s. Then he was CEO at Tech Mahindra. Then he started his own company called Mojo Networks, which sold Wi-Fi security software to companies in 2002-3 onwards. So when Wi-Fi was very new, like almost nascent, I don't know whether were you born in 2002?
2001.
2001, okay. So I don't even remember. But 2002-3 he built that out and he sold it in 2019. So he had like 700-800 corporate clients. And when I started Bombay Shaving Company, he said, Kiya, I don't understand how you do this B2C thing. Like, how do you sell to so many customers? Who do you talk to? How do you get feedback? I think it's a DNA thing. So some people really enjoy, and I don't know if you've seen this, that you always have to figure out what business is most comfortable to you. Do you want to sell like $1 of revenue to 1 billion customers? $10 of revenue to 100 million customers? $100 of revenue to 10 million customers, and so on. That's how you can build $1 billion revenue business. Or 1 billion revenue from one customer, which also is possible, like let's say in the defense space, right? And $1 to 1 billion customers is possible, like in the software space. You have to find out what you like. And I always felt like I loved retail. I loved retail. I loved building brands. My favorite subjects in business school were marketing and sales. So I felt like मेरा वो DNA था. And I feel like if you make a good product, the three parts, right? Aspiration, value, delight. Build a brand that creates aspiration. Doesn't mean it has to be premium. It is aspirational. Consumers have to feel like they want to associate with it. They identify with it. You communicate in a way that makes them feel कि ये मेरा brand है. That's what I mean by aspiration. Then value. कि यार उस brand का मैंने product खरीदा तो मेरे को लगा कि यार इसमें value है. 200 रुपए का फोम खरीदा यार 6 महीने से चल ही जा रहा है. So my foams don't end. I get complaints. एक फोम खत्म नहीं हो रहा है, कुछ गलत है क्या इसमें? 9 महीने हो गए रोज शेव कर रहा हूँ, खत्म नहीं हो रहा अपने. तो मैंने प्रोडक्ट टीम को बोला कि दोस्त ये क्या बकवास है, अपने लिए भी अच्छा नहीं है, खत्म ही नहीं हो रहा है. तो बट गिव वैल्यू. कस्टमर को लगना चाहिए कि वैल्यू है इसमें, सुंदर सा सुगंध है. एंड देन डिलाइट कि आफ्टर यूसेज द कंज्यूमर फील्स क्या दिस वाज अमेजिंग. हेयर रिमूवल में वी आर गिविंग डिलाइटफुल एक्सपीरियंस. सो इफ यू आर एबल टू गिव aspirational brand, a a creative product which creates delight for the consumer on usage, then you don't need to do a lot for the consumer to come back over and over again and buy. So अगर आपने ये बना लिया तो आपका बिजनेस कैश जनरेटिंग मशीन बन जाता है. B2B में कैश जनरेशन इज नॉट अ गिवन. You know, you have to always cultivate clients, deliver on the, like you are a marketing agency. आप कितना हसल मार के आप clients को ला रहे होंगे, उनको deliver कर रहे होंगे, उनके complaints सुन रहे होंगे. You must, like it's stressful. I find that stressful. I don't know about you.
Yeah, no, makes sense.
I feel कि यार बढ़िया सा razor बनाओ, बढ़िया सा trimmer बनाओ, बढ़िया foam बनाओ, बढ़िया बनाओ, अच्छे प्राइस पे, उस पर बहुत मेहनत करो कि उसका कॉस्ट अच्छा कम हो, उसका क्वालिटी हाई क्वालिटी हो, ब्रांड का कम्युनिकेशन सही हो. उसके बाद उसको दुकानों में डालो, ब्लिंकिट पे डालो, अमेजोन पे डालो, D2C पे डालो, D-Mart पे डालो. उसके बाद आपने ये सब पूरी कसरत कर ली तो कस्टमर आता है. Why does FMCG get such multiples in the Sensex, in the public markets? It's because analysts know that once a Dabur has built out Vatika and Dabur and Chyawanprash and all of these brands and toothpaste, it's going to just generate cash. Their biggest issue for Colgate or Dabur or HUL is कि बस excess cash का करे क्या? They're cash generating machines. So why would you not do it? So that's what attracted me.
Yeah.
B2B is not like that. B2B is like that, but it is more stressful and it happens at a different scale. At least मेरे को instinctively नहीं समझ में आता.
And what did your father say when you actually started working on this idea?
Arre, he's a very positive human being and very generous. And I think one of the issues right now my mom and I were discussing is कि Shantanu, you need to tell your dad to be a little less proud. सब दूर जाके मोहल्ले में यहाँ जाके शांतनु की कंपनी शांतनु करते. I was like, it's a very cute thing actually.
See, like my father goes to like events and all. He goes to like as a lecturer, and people recognize him saying कि अच्छा आप ईशान के पापा हो ना, and that is the best feeling for him. That just makes his day. And then he tells me अच्छा पता है मैं इससे मिला, and then he said कि अच्छा आप ईशान को जानते हो, आप ईशान से बात करा दो and all that. And that
आप कहाँ से हो ईशान? Where are you?
मैं हूँ खंडवा से. खंडवा is a small town. अच्छा आप इंदौर से हो? अरे वाह. Where in Indore?
I was in Indore yesterday. Like a Friday, Saturday, Sunday I was in Indore for Tycon, and I was. So I never grew up there. My mom grew up in a combination of Khandwa, Badhwa and Khargon.
Wow.
And Indore she studied.
This is already sounding so homely.
Yeah, and Indore. Like I was there eating dal kachori and garadu and poha and like the likes. Why do you think I'm wearing a loose shirt today? कि Indore जाके तो ये होता है. So I came last night from Indore. But wow, you're from Khandwa.
Yeah, no, I was born in Khandwa. I lived in Indore for a couple of years, but I never stayed in Indore for long. Okay. So my father always had this growth mindset in his career. He was like, I'll grow, I'll switch companies, I'll grow whatever it happens.
क्या करते थे वो?
So he is in the pharmaceutical industry for the last 28 years.
अच्छा.
So he's worked in all of the biggest companies that you've heard of, right? So GSK, Dr. Reddy's, all of the MCure. Right now he's working at HCG. So his mantra was 2 years work in a company, first year get a promotion, next year next company. So as a result of that, I changed 10 cities in 12 years of my schooling in 14 different schools.
Wow.
So I really had the whole experience of India.
Every year new uniform.
Yes. And the downside was no friends.
No friends. Did you like did that affect you a little bit? Like I was like that till 5th standard.
Yeah.
Because we were in US, Pune, US again, and finally, and then Trivandrum, Bangalore, then Pune. And finally in 5th or 6th standard, I told my parents that I don't want to change uniforms now. कि आप जो करना है यहीं से करो.
मान गए वो.
I think this was 97, and I think my mom also told my dad कि यार बड़ा बेटा भी
ज़्यादा हो रहा है.
10 साल का हो गया, now he'll need to make friends. तो अगर आपको करना है आप घूमो, but let's put the base in Pune. I think that was a very smart thing to do. But I keep you're much younger, so your dad will be much younger. All of my friends' dads are like retired for last 10 years. So I always ask them, what did your dad or what did your mom used to do? I forget how young you are. And then you went to BITS Pilani.
Yes, I went to BITS Pilani. I've lived in Delhi, Mumbai, Pune, Hyderabad, Bhopal, all the places. Saharanpur, all the areas. My mom is from Lucknow. And my father is from Mathura.
Acha. Yeah, so the UP people who
UP people who were like here in Khandwa. Because my grandma's school was there. So she used to run the school. She passed away, because of which my mom had to take over that school. We realized that my grandma was overly liberal. So she would she just had this mission to educate as many people as possible, regardless of their capacity to pay the fees, which was already very minimal considering it's Khandwa. Khandwa. Yeah. But then people would just not pay when my mom came back, and we had bills to pay, so we had to shut that down. But it was like her mission that she struggled and built from all her hard work and sweat. That generation was something else, man. Yeah. That generation was truly something else. Yeah. Truly something else. I could go to Khandwa and say कि मैं सुमन का पोता हूँ. And everyone would know. And they'd know. Wow. That's true impact, right? We talk about, all of us, unicorn and this and that, and revenue. I think real impact happens when people like your grandmother do what they do. Yeah. It doesn't happen. I don't think it happens in boardrooms. At least, frankly, I don't think it happens in government offices also. I think it happens with people who are passionate like your grandmother, who are able to teach so many people and not take fees for it. Imagine, even if 1 or 2 students from her school would have kind of gone on to do disproportionately better than they would have otherwise. What it all made up for it, yeah. Hai na? Yeah, exactly. Very good, yeah. See, we have so much in common. Like, my dad's a BITS Pilani alumnus. We are both from, at least families are from that belt of India. Yeah, I chose to drop out, but I realized that once you enter BITS, you're going to be a BITSian. Of course. Anyways, so... Was that hard for you to drop out? It was not hard because I had been so out of touch to the college life. Because 2 years in Pune was just me struggling. Not struggling, just working hard on my work. When was Pune? After BITS? So, no. So basically Pune was the place where my parents were living. Okay. While I was in BITS. Okay. This is 2020 start. Okay. Like January and all. And that's when... When did you enter BITS? I entered BITS in July of 2019. 2019, okay. Yeah, so I was 2019-2023 batch. Okay. The COVID thing happened, and then March. March is when we went back. I think March was the time when the thing happened. So March we go back to, I was living in Mumbai back then. And then we packed our bags and we went to all the way to Pune. And then I set up my work. I was recording videos, doing all the hard work. While doing college remotely? Yeah, I was doing college remotely. There's no problem of attendance. So I could just miss classes and just focus on doing what I really interested me. And then I was just so engrossed in making videos, learning how to edit, storytelling. I built that company, the agency, hired people, had my co-founder, which was my roommate from college. So he also quit? No, he did not quit. He didn't have a YouTube channel to quit. So then when I came back to college in 2022 March, I just couldn't relate with anyone around me, because in the back of my head was always about, how can I improve my sales pitch? How can I become a better communicator? How can I make better videos? And everyone around me had just different motivations in life. Placement, internship, professor ने ये hard exam दे दिया या कुछ हो गया, right? So these had different things going on, which was not wrong for their perspective. But I just realized that I need a better surrounding around me. तूने नहीं सोचा कि यार 1 साल पढ़ाई करके खत्म कर लेता हूँ इसको? I know. I talked to everyone. So I talked to Raj. I talked to Viraj. I talked to all the alumni as well, and they all had these conflicting things. Like alumni were like, "Kar lo, koi na, yadein hongi college ki," and all that you can cherish for the rest of your life. And then all of these people, like people who were creators, were like, "Kar do, chhod do, kya jata hai?" Like enter karna is the main thing. Now that you can leave. So, but I was like, "Yeah, this is." I had built the channel for the last 2 years.
And how big was the channel when you left?
It was 340k subscribers.
On YouTube?
Yeah, and it was 27th of March 2022 when I dropped out.
Okay.
And that day I came back home. My father came to help me pack my bags and my like studio lights and cameras and everything which I had carried to the college.
So you had all this in your...
I had everything. I had 2
Wow.
studio lights like these, like 2 of these, like 2 proper cameras, mics and everything, which I had bought for recording videos.
Wow.
21 days in college, I'm done. My father comes to pack my bags and we go to Pune. And then the next day he goes to work.
Where in Pune were you guys?
So I was in Hinjewadi phase 3.
I live in Baner, dude. Like my parents live in Baner.
Yeah.
It's too much. Too much commonality. Nice.
But then the next day I just called him and said, ki, I'm going to go to Bangalore and I'm packing my bags. And that same day
Why
he comes
Bangalore?
back. I just wanted to experience Bangalore. I've just heard about Bangalore so much from people, creators and founders and likewise. So they were just like, Bangalore is where you have to be. This is where everything is happening. So you have to be in that circle to like have that mindset that you want to like build something. So I was like, I want to be there. So my father came that day, 28 March, and he's like, guess what? I've left my job. So he left MCure.
Really?
And he joined. He said, I'm going to come with you to Bangalore.
Okay.
And then he did.
And what would you guys do?
He found a new job.
In Bangalore, is it?
In Bangalore.
That is so cute, man.
So 28 March, we decided 2022. 1st April, I'm in Bangalore with my parents. They are looking for a house. I'm here in events, meeting founders and creators. And then finally, 1st July, we finally move in.
Actually, so now they're also based in Bangalore with you?
Yep. So they live in South Bangalore and I live in North Bangalore.
Oh, you guys live separately?
I just moved out because my co-founder graduated last year. So he was like, "Abhi main kya karu, kahan jaun?" So he is from Gujarat. So Gandhinagar. So I was like, "Bhai, tu kya karega ghar pe jaakar ke? Isse yahin pe aake kaam karo." So then I found a place near to the airport because I travel so much. And now I visit my parents every weekend. So I live and work out of there. So
well done.
That's
You
the
like
story
Bangalore?
so far. I like Bangalore, but like all of that, enthusiasm for like traveling to events and all sort of died down like in the next like 1.5 year, because I realized that at the end it's just about you and your skills and what you want to build in your laptop.
That's true.
It's a very lonely thing, and the more you're going to events, अच्छा है, मतलब event में लोग मिल जाएंगे, networking हो जाएगी, but कुछ point in networking until you have something to build.
Correct.
You have something to sell, to show. So I was like, ये बहुत हो रहा है. Like I had an angel investor friend of mine. He was like, कि भाई मैं तो को लेके चलता हूँ. You should start like investing in like companies as an angel. Let me teach you how it works. Like, ठीक है, it's a new thing for me. I'll learn. I'll go for it. So he would take me for these events and all in all these hotels, and I would meet founders and interesting people. I was like, कि भाई I'm not going to sit here and judge what some company might do and then bet money on that. I'd rather bet money on my own thing.
Correct.
So I just said that this is something that I might do later, but I'd want to work on my own thing.
Yeah.
For
Founders make poor investors because if they're doing it part time, because their mind is always on their thing, and hence, either you're never going to be fully involved in.
But then how is Kunal Shah the biggest angel investor?
I don't think. See, Kunal Shah, I think, from at least the companies that I have seen him invest in, which I invest in also, Kunal just looks at a founder, sees if the market is big, likes the founder, and puts the check. I don't know how involved Kunal actually is. I don't know what his success ratios are. I think Kunal is one of those guys who's just an ecosystem builder. उसने बोला होगा कि यार startup से ही मेरे को जो मिला है वो मिला है, so I will give back to the ecosystem. So any founder which he feels is operating in a large market and the founder is decent, I think he puts in a check. I don't think he'll have the time to really see how to help, go deep, be a part of board meeting. कुछ नहीं करता होगा वो. तो जरूरत भी नहीं है यार. हजारों चेक लिखे उसने. There's no need for him to do it. I think for him it's like a license to learn. Like he will probably see like 1,000 companies and see कहाँ पे क्या हो रहा है, क्या growth हो रहा है. And I think it's a good way for him to it's an education for him.
He's just buying a course.
I think he's creating goodwill.
Yeah.
End of the day, balance sheet with that goodwill line na, is compounds like crazy. So I think this is a smart move.
Yeah.
It's a smart move.
Let's go back to building in B2C, right? So can you give me like a rundown of your unit economics? Like
Right.
what's your most selling article and what are the costs like and what is the margin like and what affects each of those elements?
Today?
Yep.
Okay. So typically, and I'll give you like, I'll divide this into two parts. One part is, we call it personal care software products. The other part is personal care hardware products, right? Software products is anything that is made in water or gas and comes in a jar or a bottle or like a soap or a body wash or a shaving foam. Typically, they are higher gross margin products because the product itself is mostly water, right? And water doesn't cost much. Or gas, and gas also doesn't cost much. So shaving foam typically would, if let's say the price is 200 rupees, we make a gross margin of around 70%, which means the cost of the product and the first mile logistics is roughly 30%, right? So 140 बचता है हमारे पास. Then we do a lot of promotions, discounts, marketing, all of that stuff, right? Delivery, everything. Like, so that comes down to something called CM2, which is contribution margin. And now that gets aggregated at a company level, right? So typically at a company level today, we roughly operate around 20 to 25% CM2, which means 20% of any product that I've sold comes back to the company to pay off salaries, rents, anything that's a fixed cost. So that's how the economics of a software product work, which is our foams, gels, deodorants, fragrances, all of that.
And what percentage of that is compared to the hardware product?
Today at a value level, we are roughly 60% software, 40% hardware.
Revenue level.
Revenue level. And of the 40%, which is hardware, which is razors and trimmers, it's also growing a lot faster because of the trimmer business. But typically, instead of 70% margin, we're operating at roughly a 55% margin. A, because this is like plastic stuff which costs money, and B, because a lot of it is imported. So there's also an import cost that happens. So 55% of, let's say, अगर trimmer average 1000 रुपये भी बिक रहा है, तो 550 रुपये हमारे लिए बचते हैं उसका मार्केटिंग और डिस्काउंट्स और वो सब करने के लिए. और उसके बाद उसका भी CM2 roughly 20% ही है. So we spend only 35% of that product sales on marketing and all of this stuff. So 20% CM2 बचता है, and then that we use to pay off our salaries and so on.
How do you figure out the manufacturing? Like, do you have like a vendor that you work with, or like did you yourself went to China or to figure out some way?
There's a process, right? I think, and we have become better and better over time. So good part is on the software part, India has a very good manufacturing ecosystem. So companies like HUL, Procter, Colgate, Reckitt, ITC have built out very good personal care manufacturers, like large facilities making lots of shampoos and soaps and so on. Because India has 140 crore people, they all use this stuff. So on day one, we knew like the 20 biggest manufacturers, packaging and finished goods, and we went and spoke to them and figured out who will give us, the right quality.
So they do
price.
B2B as well?
Oh, they are only B2B.
Okay.
These are all people who are factory owners. उनके पास 10 ब्रांड आते हैं और वो उनके लिए बनाते हैं. There is no B2C. Many of them have tried to build brand, वो होता नहीं.
And they'll do it for anyone who would want to have some decent size of.
So they will give you a minimum order quantity. कि आपको अगर shaving cream बनवानी है तो आपको at least 10,000 ट्यूब बनवानी पड़ेगी. Which on day zero felt like a lot. I was like, यार 10,000 shaving cream करूँगा क्या? मेरे को 50 चाहिए. 50 नहीं बनेंगी दोस्त. हम लोग टन में बनाते हैं shaving cream. So they start with that, but today, like for example, we are now doing almost 3-4 lakh shaving foams a month now.
Oh wow!
So you get to that scale. And then when it comes to import,
and how long has it been? Like how many?
8-9 years. We started in 2016.
Damn.
8 साल लगे यार इसको करने में. फिर हम लोग चाइना गए, साउथ कोरिया गए. वहाँ पे थोड़ा difficult.
This is for the hardware thing.
For the hard, because India में trimmers and razors both are difficult to make in India. Like
ऐसा क्यों है?
Precision manufacturing है इसमें. India में we have very good manufacturing in automotive space, now in phones, and I'm sure even in our space it will happen. But यार you're taking sharp metal to someone's face. So microns में वहाँ पे tolerances होते हैं. तो
and वो technology India में नहीं है.
Technology की बात नहीं. I think वो DNA for
बारीकी वाली जो
करेक्ट बारीकी वाला जो डीएन है ना वो नहीं इंडिया में अभी तक वी गेट बिग स्टफ राइट वी डोंट गेट लाइक स्मॉल स्टफ राइट तो उसके लिए चाइना साउथ कोरिया वियतनाम थाईलैंड
तो व्हाट डू यू लैंड इन शेंजन और
नहीं बहुत है यार सो वी सी गुड पार्ट इज अलीबाबा एटसेट्रा ऑनलाइन ecosystem से you at least get a sense of the universe then we will talk to a few like dealers or brokers in Shenzhen Guangzhou and tell them कि यार हमारा ये requirement है find the 10 best manufacturers then they have a good ecosystem you pay them some money and then they'll go and show you everyone they'll do factory with it boss China मतलब when you enter a factory where you're meeting with the first time you will see India का flag China का flag welcome to Bombay Shaving Company 4 लोग वहाँ पे तुम्हारा नमस्कार करके यार
चाइनीज लोग हैं सारे
this country has figured out how to make people feel special so that they can maximize exports they know they manufacture for the world यार उनका ये SOP
एंड ऐसा एप्पल आता है जब किसी मैन्युफैक्चरिंग में कोई कर्नाटका में कहीं पे तो नहीं होता ऐसा कुछ
तो हो एप्पल के लिए होता होगा बॉम्बे शेविंग कंपनी के लिए नहीं होता so China will do it for Apple India will do it for Apple but China will also do it for Bombay Shaving Company they'll do it for even a small company they know कि यार अभी के करेंगे अच्छे से करेंगे तो विल बिल्ड आउट विद देम राइट सो वो सब हमने वहाँ पे जाके सीखा देन वी काइंड ऑफ गॉट वी ऑल्सो लाइक वी टाइड अप विद अ लॉट ऑफ इंडस्ट्रियल डिजाइन केमिकल इंजीनियरिंग वी डिड अ लॉट ऑफ द वर्क आवरसेल्व्स इन टर्म्स ऑफ बिल्डिंग formulations designs etc but when it came to at scale manufacturing we always felt like factory should be owned by factory owners we are owners of the brand so we used to go to them and do it one step forward 2 steps back वाला हिसाब है धीरे धीरे बनता है ये सब कुछ
बट ये आप बना रहे थे एंड यू नो कि लाइक द बिगेस्ट कॉम्पिटिटर इज जिलेट राइट सो यू बिल्डिंग अगेंस्ट देम व्हाट हाउ व्हाई डिड यू हैव दिस ड्राइव कि अच्छा आई वांट टू लाइक बिल्ड इन दिस स्पेस व्हिच इज लाइक मैसिवली
इट वाज अ ह्यूज अपॉर्चुनिटी ना यार सी व्हेन समवन इज
ये कैसे मालूम पड़ा कि ये ह्यूज अपॉर्चुनिटी है
यार एक तो जब मैंने चालू किया था डॉलर शेव क्लब दैट ईयर गॉट सोल्ड फॉर $1 billion so dollar shave club in the US had reached $300 million revenue that year. So if they had disrupted Gillette in the US, there was an opportunity to disrupt Gillette in India. And I also realized that Indian consumers, like India roughly has 25 to 30 crore male shavers, another 30 to 40 crore female hair removers. So market is deep from a number standpoint. Gillette revenue is much smaller because a large part of their business is very small, like 1 rupee, 2 rupee blades or the disposable razors. They have not been able to, and India has not evolved to a larger Mark 3 market, which it will over a period of time. We also realize
तो Mark 3 लोग यूज नहीं करते यहाँ पे
बहुत कम लोग मतलब इंडिया में 140 करोड़ लोग हैं आई थिंक 1 से 2 करोड़ Mark 3 यूजर्स होंगे मैक्स
दैट इज लाइक अल्फा 1 व्हाट इंडिया
हाँ बट स्टिल मतलब 200 रुपए की चीज़ है यार इट्स नॉट वेरी एक्सपेंसिव पीपल बाय 20 रुपी प्रेस्टो और 99 रुपी सेंसी स्मार्ट 3 एंड बी हैप्पी Mark 3 is an outstanding product. Mark 3 जैसा shave is an aspirational shave for a company like us. It's a beautiful product. But
what about it is beautiful?
Everything.
Because I've used it.
Mark 3 is outstanding. You also have lesser hair on your face. You're a young kid.
Yeah.
So you don't need Mark 3 is like a bazooka to kill a mosquito. You will get a great shave with most razors. But someone like me, I have a very tough skin. I shave my head, all of that, right? So Mark 3, I think, super safe. Ergonomics are beautiful. It's got that great look.
हाँ भी उनके ऐड ऐसे लगते हैं कुछ कार वार दिखा रहे हैं कुछ प्लेन चल रहा है क्या हो रहा है like a shaving man at the end of the day.
I think it's the crown jewel in Procter and Gamble or Gillette's global brand portfolio. Mark 3 is up there, but in India we're still kind of getting there. So I felt कि एक तो ये है कि opportunity बढ़ी है. There's one successful company and every other category had at least 3 or 4 companies. Like face wash देख लो, साबुन देख लो, deodorant देख लो. At least 3-4 companies तो हैं ही है किसी भी food business. Very few categories are single company, right?
Duopolies बहुत देखने को मिलती है मतलब.
Duopolies भी कम है कहाँ पे duopoly?
Like you'll see a lot of these things, right? Like
Pepsi,
Swiggy, Zomato,
Swiggy, Zomato, yes. But like in consumer, Pepsi, Coke है, but वहाँ पे भी फटाफट thumbs up, became big. Now people love mango, people love orange in that space. So there's again.
Jio, Airtel हो गया.
हाँ, you're right. वहाँ पे थोड़ा the capex is a moat. Capex is a moat there. I think Vodafone Idea were not able to do it that well. But you're right. In our case, because it was single company. Second is I think consumers were changing. Like someone like your Bits Pilani cohort would definitely like many of them would want to use a trimmer also.
Yeah.
उनके वो टॉयलेटरी एरिया में ट्रिमर तो होगा ही होगा एक हाथ. आज के डेट में देख लो आप कस्टमर ऐसा है कि 4-5 ट्रिमर खरीदने हैं उसको. वो जिम जाता है उसको मसल देखने, तो वो बाल, यहाँ के बाल भी निकालने हैं उसको, बिकॉज
Yeah, no, I had a friend, he shaved his leg पूरा भाई. मतलब ये कैसा लग रहा है?
because you want to see your muscles, you want to see your calves build, you want to see your quads, you want to see
Yeah.
everything. People are getting sexually active, so intimate area shaving becomes very important. People go on vacations, they want to take off their shirts on a beach. They don't want hair on their chest and on their backs. And Indians are hairy people on the average, right? तो ज़रूरत है, लोग खरीदने के लिए रेडी है. तो we felt कि यार हम कर सकते हैं इसको. So that was the thesis. कि if you want to remove unwanted hair from your body, we can make it a very delightful experience. It doesn't have to be a फटाफट खत्म करो type of thing. That was the thesis.
Yeah, I've seen this a lot, like companies creating that branding of like rule breakers, we are different, we are going against the status quo a lot. Like Comet is a great example of a sneaker brand going against the Nike AF1s. And we see this in a lot of other companies are coming in India, competing with all of them, and it's looked like it's working.
See, also you're Gen Z, no? You guys are amazing consumers because you guys want brands that you identify with. You don't want a brand that your father tells you कि पापा यूज कर. I copied everything my dad did. मैं ट्राइसिकल चलाता था 4 साल की उम्र में, वो भी हेलमेट पहन के. पापा हेलमेट पहन के मोटरसाइकिल चलाते तो मेरे को हेलमेट पहननी है. वो फुल शर्ट पहनते, मेरे को फुल शर्ट. मेरे को एनालॉग वॉच चाहिए, डिजिटल वॉच नहीं चाहिए. 4 साल की उम्र में, क्योंकि पापा पहनते हैं. बट टुडेज 22 year old is actually very different from his father, and the father is copying him. The father is asking कि तू कौन सा deodorant यूज कर रहा है. Father is like, my dad will ask me कि hey, what's I like this brand of chappals. It's called Birkenstock.
Birkenstock.
Like, what are these cool jute like things?
This is comfortable. I never felt it's comfortable.
After a month and a half, it becomes very. I'm also flat-footed. I don't know whether you can see.
I am also flat-footed.
Arey, dude, you will love it. You will love. But I got him a Birkenstock. McKinsey में ना, when he used to make partner in McKinsey. So when I joined McKinsey, मेरे को partner बनना. Partner बनते ही ना, I think McKinsey used to give like a to-me backpack and a to-me one-nighter.
Yeah.
So suddenly I would see partners, 2 things would change when they become partner. एक तो सूट आता था, like a coat, and to-me का वो था. And I became very inspired कि यार एक life में एक बार to-me खरीदना है मेरे को. तो मैं partner बनने से पहले निकल गया था. But then when I kind of started the company and so on, at some point maybe like 3-4 years back, I went and bought myself a to-me backpack. Extremely overpriced. I will never buy one again. But एक खरीदना था मेरे को.
कितने का था?
I don't know, 35,000, like obnoxious for a backpack. 35,000 rupees is obnoxious. Like,
see, I just went to Coach New York. I was in New York. तो मेरे दोस्त बोलता भाई यहाँ पे आया कोच नहीं जाएगा तो फिर what will you do? so we went there and he was like भाई ये खरीद ले, this is old money. ये पहन लेगा तो फिर हो जाएगा, old money हो जाएगा. He made me buy a 25,000 rupee कोच का बैग, लाइक प्रॉपर बैग जो है, विच इज लाइक वर्स देन दिस मोकोबारा दैट आई हैव, बिकॉज कम जगह है. एंड वो उसने मेरे को ये बोल के दिखाया कि भाई ये इंडिया में 75,000 का है. तो ही इज लाइक कि हियर इट इज 25,000, so you buy here but then you use it in India.
Wow. Then my dad saw it and he's like wow. So on his birthday I gifted it to him. Now he gets a lot of compliments from his friends. Very nice backpack. So मेरे को वो लगता है कि यार अभी आजकल के जो पेरेंट्स है ना, वो they are copying the younger, more aware generation. So I think that's the thing with Gen Z consumption. I think that it's very, they identify with rebellious brands. They identify with something like Comet, like it's for me, मेरे लिए बना हुआ है, or Birkenstock, or Bombay Shaving Company, hopefully, or Whole Truth. 5 o'clock in the evening, I want some protein. I will not go and I'll have myself a protein bar.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. So that works.
But when you started, जैसा आपने बताया 10,000 ट्यूब्स दैट यू हैव टू प्लेस इन ऑर्डर, इसके लिए पैसे कहाँ से आए?
यार मैंने सेव करके रखे थे. आई पुट इन अराउंड 45-50 लाख रुपीज विच आई 5 साल काम किया था मैंने McKinsey में. इट वाज अ हाई पेइंग जॉब एंड आई कंटिन्यू टू लिव अ फेयर.
तो इतनी कंफर्टेबल लाइफ कैसे छोड़ दी आपने? पार्टनर हो आप McKinsey में?
पार्टनर नहीं था मैं EM था. पार्टनर बनने में 3-4 साल और लग जाते, लेकिन बन जाता. बट फॉर मी यार, आई हैड सीन माय डैड बिकम एन एंटरप्रेन्योर एंड आई फेल्ट कि फेल हो गया तो भी आके McKinsey में ही काम कर लूँगा मैं. आई हैड डन वेरी वेल एट McKinsey वुड हैव टेकन मी बैक, like no questions. I had very good standing with the firm. I was a big fan of the firm. I always felt like being an employee at McKinsey was I was very proud of it. My parents were very proud of it.
Consultants करते क्या हैं?
अरे यार बहुत ही.
There's this clip of Steve Jobs dissing consultants.
I don't think you could be a consultant to Steve Jobs. But Steve Jobs would have had a lot of middle management that would have been confused or struggling with problems to solve. McKinsey works very well with management consulting. I'll tell you my projects. I worked with a power plant in Jharsuguda. I was 23 years old, maybe your age today.
Yeah.
I worked at a power plant in Orissa. They used to make aluminium. So they used to generate power to feed an aluminium making plant. And they would procure 150 to 200 crores of coal per month. तो आप सोचो वहाँ पे मैं even if I were to create 5-10% efficiency, मैं साल का 50-60 करोड़ बचा लेता उनके लिए. That was my first job. And we did a very good job with that. Because we really kind of crunched the numbers on कौन से माइन से आ रहा है, किस GCV पे आ रहा है, कैसे करना है, वो वहाँ पे कौन से ट्रक से ला सकते हो, etc. ये सब सारी चीज़ें जो है, like a young analytical mind can really help a team which actually understands coal well but might struggle with like how do you bid in an auction, for example. My second project was helping a cement company sell cement in Punjab. Again, we created a quick model कि इस प्लांट से आ रहा है तो ये लॉजिस्टिक कॉस्ट है, तो इस एरिया में इसका GME होना चाहिए, तो ऐसा डिमांड प्लानिंग करना चाहिए अपन ने, तो ऐसे टारगेट्स बनेंगे जो तब तक गट या जजमेंट पे बन रहे थे. हमने उस पर डेटा डाला and again we kind of found. So when you give McKinsey or any good consulting firm or team a sharp problem and you throw really smart people at that problem who are motivated to solve it, you will see good.
But they don't have domain expertise.
You don't need domain expertise. You will build it. Like even today at Bombay Shaving Company, I don't hire shaving experts. I hire people with tremendous sensibility, common sense and enthusiasm. You hire smart people who are enthusiastic, boss, they will solve anything. They'll build the domain expertise they have to. Most problems are generic in nature. But problem solving is a critical skill. How do you prioritize? How do you look at a certain thing? How do you build out the numbers? How do you have hypothesis? How do you do scenario planning? ये सारा तो बहुत मतलब ये like raw problem solving है. इसमें दिमाग की जरूरत है. इसमें like conceptual understanding of the space is not required. उसमें McKinsey घुसता भी नहीं है. McKinsey will never do actuarial work for an insurance company. McKinsey will never go to Apple and tell them how to code. McKinsey will never go to Pepsi and consult them on what's the best flavors for your next drink. Never. But McKinsey will absolutely tell Pepsi where are the 5 next factories to put in so that you are able to get the best return for your shareholders.
Yeah.
For sure. Because they've done it 50 times before. So many people have this thing, consultants का तुम मेरे को आके क्या बताओगे भाई 80% of McKinsey's revenue is repeat. When someone has such high repeat NPS, that means board members and people make fun of me कि तू McKinsey का बहुत बड़ा fan है, ये तू बहुत ये करता है. But I genuinely took a lot of pride in my work. I genuinely felt we had a lot of good impact. I think McKinsey also makes a lot of mistakes. And consultants will make mistakes.
Right.
You will recommend something wrong because 5 साल की strategy है, 10 साल की strategy, you humanly cannot like kind of view it. But I think we have done more positive work for our clients than by distance than mistake work.
Yeah, I know my friend recently joined Bain. And वो देखता है सारे बिल जो इनवॉइसेस जाती है, ये लाइक भाई 8-8 करोड़ पता नहीं किस लिए बिल कर रहे हैं, मेरे को तो 1 लाख देते हैं महीने का.
I don't know about the billing of Bain. I think Bain is also an equally good firm, but
yeah.
See, you have to see it from a ROCE standpoint. That's the thing, right? You cannot say कि यार this is my salary, how much of the billing am I getting? No, man. Bain will charge what value they create for the client.
True.
So if you think about it this way, if you are saving 50 crores a year on profit for a client, and the client's shareholder value, the client is trading at let's say 40 times EBITDA multiple, तो 40 times 50 2000 करोड़ की वैल्यू ऐड कर दिया आपने, तो 8 करोड़ पर मंथ का बिल तो कुछ भी नहीं है. 100 करोड़ चार्ज करके 2000 करोड़ क्रिएट कर लेना शेयर होल्डर के लिए. तो दैट्स द मैथ.
राइट.
उसमें से तुमको कितना मिल रहा है इन कॉन्सिक्वेंसेस. तो मिस्टर बेल इज आल्सो एन एंटरप्रेन्योर ना. ही विल से कि बस आई विल पे यू व्हाट मार्केट इज पेइंग. आई विल चार्ज द क्लाइंट व्हाट मार्केट इज चार्जिंग द क्लाइंट, एंड आई विल सी वेदर इट्स वर्थ इट. इफ आई एम क्रिएटिंग ओनली 20 crores of value, I can't charge 100 crores per year. If I'm creating 2000 crores of value for you and your shareholders, I can charge 100 crores. It's 5% commission. Very fair take rate. Nahin?
Makes sense.
I think end of the day, market equilibriums are beautiful. Like whether it's consulting or shaving or content, market equilibriums are beautiful.
What is that exactly?
That market will tell you what to do. Like for creators who are building brands, market will tell creators how to build brands, where to build them, which categories will they be built in, etc. It will happen.
Yeah.
Markets are beautiful. Like I think, as an entrepreneur, it might sound like slightly, self-aggrandizing, but I think capitalist models of markets just are so good. If you are able to listen to feedback, you will always be successful.
Do you think people struggle with that, like founders?
I think so. I think people don't listen to the market as much as they should. Markets are the most rich source of insights for entrepreneurs, business operators, CEOs, anyone, even for you guys. तू बता, तू YouTube पे अपना analytics देखता होगा. The way you sent your ऐसा मेरा customer base है, यहाँ पे है, इतना इस age पे, you're also doing the same thing.
Yeah.
That's the market giving you feedback. This is who likes your stuff. This is who's listening. This is how long they're listening for. This is the kind of stuff they actually like. Now you know what to give them more and more. But if you stop listening to your market, it's very likely you'll start seeing unfollow rates go up and so on.
जैसे आपको आइडिया आया कि लाइक दिस इज अ ह्यूज अपॉर्चुनिटी टू बिल्ड इन दिस स्पेस, हाउ कैन समवन फाइंड दीज इनसाइट्स? वो कैसे ढूंढना चाहिए? व्हाट इज द फर्स्ट स्टार्टिंग पॉइंट?
मेरे को तो लगता है एक तो फाउंडर मार्केट फिट होना चाहिए कि मेरे को क्या पसंद है. तेरे को फॉर एग्जाम्पल तू क्लियर है, तेरे को कंटेंट पसंद है, you will naturally find some gravitation towards content first businesses. I had natural gravitation towards brand and retail first businesses because I just had felt like I liked them. And you should always do something that you like. तो एक तो वो है कि तुम वो चीज़ करो जो तुम्हें पसंद है. Today I can't go and build an AI or a blockchain business. I can't do it. कितनी भी बड़ी मार्केट हो, कितना भी अट्रैक्टिव हो, कितनी भी फंडिंग मिल रही हो, I can't do it. So one is anyone who has, like for example, someone who's telling you about B2B. It's probably someone who's done a B2B business. Or
this reminds me of Adam Newman in the We Crash series, terming the WeWork company as a tech company right before the IPO and when pitching to Masayoshi Son.
वो तो है. But do things that you think you will enjoy. Second is I think look for needs that will become large. That may not be large today, but will become large. I remember Darshan Bhai, the founder of Fog. There's legendary stories about him standing in Panwadis and retail stores for months. This is a guy who built out Paras Pharma and sold it, by the way. So he's a very successful consumer entrepreneur already. But फिर भी पनवाड़ी में जाके देखता था कि लोग कैसे डिओड्रेंट खरीद रहे हैं, क्यों खरीद रहे हैं, कैसे यूज़ कर रहे हैं, उनको वो पसंद है कि नहीं. अपने को लगता है कि अरे बिना गैस वाला डिओ क्या है, कितनी स्ट्रेट फॉरवर्ड इनसाइट है. नहीं यार, इफ़ यू डू नॉट नो that this non-gas deodorant will sell, you change the product. He changed the whole product line, yaar. From an aerosol-based deodorant, he made it a water-based deodorant. He basically started selling perfumes in cans. It fucking worked. It's the biggest deodorant company in the world today.
Fog चल रहा है.
Country today. हाँ, Fog चल रहा है. क्या था? वो marketing genius तो अलग है उस आदमी का. But I think founders have to find out what they love and then be very close to the market for months, weeks, whatever time it takes to build conviction in an idea that's whose time has come. Even and then stay at it for a while. Shashank, for example, built out those bars, then went into chocolates, and cocoa prices went up. Now, boss, his business is booming because of whey protein. Again, but he's built out. It's taken 5-6 years to build a brand that people trust on ingredients. कि boss, ये जो बोलते हैं इनका नाम होल ट्रूथ है, ये जो बोलते हैं वही डालते हैं. इसमें कुछ अडल्ट्रेशन कुछ नहीं है, right?
See, I saw this brand in US who does this exact same thing. So उनका ब्रांड का नाम तो छोटा लिखा है नीचे, उनका पूरी चीज इज द इंग्रेडिएंट. देयर लाइक कि 2 अंडे ये उसमें है.
And that's the inspiration for whole truth.
Yeah.
Inspiration for whole truth. Yeah. But I think that's the thing. India में I think there is now this wave with food farmer wanting to become health minister, that people are reading what's on. If you go down an aisle in modern trade, most of the products are a combination of maida, palm oil, sugar, आलू. यही है 4-5 चीजें. हर चीज में
आलू
है ना, यही तो है. चिप्स है, चॉकलेट है, यही तो है. स्नैक्स है, भुजिया है, यही तो है सारा तला हुआ. तो उस दुनिया में तुम अगर बहुत ही सही हेल्दी चीज दे रहे हो तो कस्टमर ले लेगा उसको. तो आई थिंक the other 3 things one should do.
Yeah, no, aloo being the main thing because like for the entirety of my childhood आलू कचालू खाया करता था. एंड पनीर वाज अ थिंग जो कि बनती थी इन स्पेशल ओकेजन. ऐसा कुछ दिवाली पे बन गया या ऐसा कुछ कभी बन गया. And अभी तो
people don't realize how healthy paneer actually is. Yeah. It's a delicacy, but paneer is also just like roast it in ghee, have it with a few vegetables. Paneer is just so healthy. But
yeah. But going back to that point, right? If someone, ठीक है, they observed, now they have an idea, but then the execution part is which where most people struggle with, right? So what do you think they should be doing in terms of that, executing on an idea which is in the B2C space?
Yeah, put products into the market quickly. Listen to the market and keep iterating. Don't like
जुगाड़ लगाए कहीं से भी, अलीबाबा कॉल कर रहे हो कहीं से भी.
जुगाड़ लगा के build out the ecosystem, but product में मत जुगाड़ लगाओ. Product अच्छा होना चाहिए. Put it quickly into the market.
अच्छा कैसे होता है? Define अच्छा.
Quality, like quality of product, efficacious at value. like अगर आप बोल रहे हो कि मेरा फोम 2x क्रीमी है, तो वो लगना चाहिए. उसमें से जो सुगंध आ रहा है वो अच्छी होनी चाहिए. उससे जो शेव हो रहा है वो अच्छा होना चाहिए. लाइक वी आर ऑल यूजर्स ऑफ. आप सुबह उठते हो, आप ब्रश करते हो, आपको पता है ना कि फ्लेवर अच्छा है कि नहीं है टूथपेस्ट का. उसमें से फ्रेशनेस है वो 3-4 घंटे बाद जा रही है, 10-12 घंटे बाद जा रही है, कब तक रह रही है. सो इट्स वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट टू डिफाइन क्वालिटी, अचीव इट, पुट द प्रोडक्ट इन मार्केट एंड स्टार्ट सीइंग फीडबैक फ्रॉम द कस्टमर्स. उसके बाद चैनल स्ट्रैटेजी, उसके बाद मार्केटिंग, वो सब बाद में आता है. But I think initially, and one mistake which I made was like one of the issues with D2C brands is your first 100 customers could be from Coimbatore to Kolkata to Bangalore to Pune, they're all distributed. तो तुमको feedback ही नहीं मिलेगा, सब लोग अलग अलग है. My push, I think Licious did this very well, which is start in a very tight community. Like मैं तो बोल रहा हूँ गोल्फ कोर्स रोड, गुड़गांव में अगर गोल्फ कोर्स रोड गए हो, वहाँ पे 10 अपार्टमेंट कॉम्प्लेक्सेस होंगे, 500 अपार्टमेंट्स के, 5000 घर हो गए. 5000 घर में ही बेचो, रेडी लगा के या फिर न्यूज़पेपर के साथ पैम्फलेट डाल के, जैसे भी है.
That works?
I think that will work. I tell a lot of the consumer companies I invest in now, especially Delhi, Gurgaon based, कि तुमने यार लोकलाइज लेवल पे PMF,
Facebook एड्स छोड़ के like just put a pamphlet in newspaper.
तो बहुत ही महंगा है आजकल मेरे हिसाब से. जस्ट डू लोकलाइज स्टफ थ्रू कंटेंट बनाओ आपकी तरह, और गोल्फ कोर्स रोड पे क्वाइट हो, रेडी हो, ये वो, उससे लेके सैटरडे संडे को वो लगाओ, आप खुद फाउंडर जाके वहाँ बनो. लेकिन वो थोड़ा धीरे प्रोसेस है. बट बिकॉज द कम्युनिटी इज सो क्लोज नेट एंड सो फिजिकली क्लोज, यू विल बी एबल टू इटरेट मच फास्टर. तो दैट इज व्हाट आई थिंक इज अ स्मार्टर वे टू बिल्ड आउट, जो हमने किया नहीं. बट एग्जीक्यूशन में
So when you launched in like on Amazon or how?
D2C. पहले those are only D2C, then Amazon, Flipkart, then.
So you basically opened your site. Anyone could order, and you would collaborate with like a delivery or some other partner to distribute.
We had a bunch of. We had at that time delivery था, Revigo था, Ecom Express था, बहुत सारे थे, अभी भी बहुत सारे हैं. So warehousing, logistics. My view is that जो आपका core नहीं है वो उसको outsource कर लो फटाफट. जो आपका core नहीं है outsource it. जो आपका core.
Doesn't that add to the cost of the product and everything?
Outsourcing?
Yeah.
No,
क्योंकि उनके भी मार्जिन उसमें आते हैं.
मार्जिन तो दे दो ना यार. वो 10 रुपए की चीज़ है, उसमें से 1 रुपए का मार्जिन है. वो लोग 9 रुपए में कर रहे हैं, 1 रुपए कमा रहे हैं. खुद करने जाओगे 25 रुपए लगेंगे. तो उससे अच्छा 10 रुपए में करवा लो ना, जो एक्सपर्ट है उस चीज़ का. मेरा एक्सपर्टीज़ क्या है? ब्रांड बनाना, प्रोडक्ट बनाना. मेरा एक्सपर्टीज लॉजिस्टिक्स नहीं है, ना ही मेरा एक्सपर्टीज वेयर हाउसिंग है, ना ही मेरा एक्सपर्टीज मैन्युफैक्चरिंग है, ना ही मेरा एक्सपर्टीज बियॉन्ड अ पॉइंट टेक है.
Story is the USP.
My brand is my brand is my moat. My product is my moat. My distribution is my moat. Relationships, product, brand. This is it. Beyond this, other people should do it. And FMCG companies in India figured this out very well. They're all management firms that own the brand. Everything else, even their distribution is outsourced. वो डिस्ट्रीब्यूटर को माल डाल देते हैं एडवांस पे, तो पैसे भेज, फिर माल मिलेगा, और फिर दे विल जस्ट मैनेज आउटफ्लो एंड मार्केट शेयर. एंड अगर मार्केट शेयर कम होता है, देन दे विल क्वेश्चन दैट एरिया सेल्स मैनेजर और वॉट एवर. सो they're fantastic at managing businesses. But when you're building them, you'll have to build it on by keeping your core very close.
You just mentioned that you should find areas which have potential to grow, right? What have you observed at these spaces in India which have potential to grow?
Outside of FMCG?
Or FMCG or outside?
Yeah, FMCG mein, if I look at food and beverages, I think health is a huge one. Health is a huge one. I think isme over next 20-25 years, there will be a huge movement of consumers towards healthy products.
मैंने ये नोटिस किया यूएस में भी, यहाँ पे हर चीज़ प्रोटीन चिप्स, प्रोटीन हर चीज़ में डाल देते हैं, प्रोटीन पैनकेक्स. तो तो that is there.
वो awareness हो गया अभी कि you need your body weight in grams of protein. But I think even more. I think people will go into calorie measurement. People will go into sugars. We will go into people don't know how much grams of carbs they need on a daily basis. नहीं पता उनको. उनको पता है कि कार्ब्स कम खाने चाहिए, लेकिन अगर बोल रहे कि चलो ठीक है 1 कप कॉफ़ी पी लेता हूँ मैं, उस पर कितना शुगर है और हेंस कितना कार्ब्स का वेट है.
एक समोसा चाट और खा लेते हैं.
हाँ, तो एक समोसा खा लेते तो उसमें क्या है उसमें से. सो दे डोंट गेट इट, राइट? सो आई थिंक दैट अवेयरनेस इज कमिंग बिकॉज ऑफ अगेन कंटेंट क्रिएटर्स प्लस इज जनरली हेल्थ अवेयरनेस. थैंकफुली यार इंडिया इज अ वेरी अनहेल्दी प्लेस अदरवाइज. तो हेल्थ इज अ बिग वन. आई थिंक पर्सनल केयर में बहुत अपॉर्चुनिटी है. आई थिंक एस्पिरेशनल लग्जरी ब्रांड्स बहुत बनेंगे इंडिया में.
Zara is that thing ना, मतलब यहाँ पे Zara feels like कि बहुत प्रीमियम चीज़ में आ गए हम, बट आउटसाइड इंडिया यू गो इट्स जस्ट लाइक अ फास्ट फैशन ब्रांड जस्ट लाइक H&M, बट यहाँ पे उनकी अलग अलग ब्रांड है.
But India में I think luxury premiumization will happen in personal care, especially in beauty. Beauty में बहुत opportunities है. People want to get into natural beauty, clean beauty, वो सब है. I think sustainability is a big theme. If you're able to make something which is environment conscious, I think the younger folks are a lot more conscious of environment. Like we are moving towards wooden razors, for example, away from plastic. Our packaging is now getting a lot more recyclable.
And that is cheaper, more expensive.
Initially it will be more expensive, but at scale it becomes cost neutral, and over a period of time it becomes cheaper also. So ये 3-4 चीज़ें हैं. अगर आउटसाइड कंज्यूमर देखो तो आई थिंक फिनटेक में बहुत अपॉर्चुनिटी है आज. लाइक there's a huge liquidity boom that's happening because of COVID. I think everyone printed a lot of money. People have tried to control inflation by making borrowing expensive, but उससे कुछ हुआ नहीं है. तो सारी चीज़ें महंगी हो गई हैं. ये तेरे जो कैमरा हैं वो शायद 4 साल पहले सस्ते होते जितने अभी खरीदा, राइट? एजुकेशन बिकम मोर एक्सपेंसिव. योर यूएस ट्रिप वुड हैव बीन मोर एक्सपेंसिव. माय Birkenstocks are more expensive. So everything is more expensive, which is why people want to invest more and spend less. Hopefully. And hence I think we have 4 or 5 crore demat accounts. I think there's a headroom for at least 8 to 10 crores more of demat accounts to come in. और वो demat accounts आएंगे तो उसके साथ करेंगे क्या? So penetration of just stock broking businesses to mutual fund distribution businesses to using dormant assets like gold and making them come to life just like the way you make currency come to life. ये बहुत सारी businesses आएंगी अभी. I think fintech में lending तो है ही. Lending is becoming like, मैं तो ट्रिमर भी EMI पे बिकता है आजकल. मेरा ट्रिमर बिकता है EMI पे.
अच्छा.
EMI पे 1000 रुपये की चीज़ 150 रुपये के 6 EMI for 6 months.
लोग क्यों लेते हैं उसको?
उनको क्यों? अरे महीने का 150 ही देना है मेरे को, 1000 रुपये एक साथ देने ही नहीं है. ले लेते हैं. See, you have people who are able to fund you for it for a while. Why won't you do it?
And इसमें उनका क्या benefit है?
किनका?
For the people who are actually financing that.
उनको तो इंटरेस्ट मिलता है. उनको इंटरेस्ट मिलता है या फिर उनको डेटा मिलता है या फिर उनको लेंडिंग बुक मिलती है फंडिंग रेज करने के लिए. कुछ तो मिलता है उनको. उनको आई थिंक उनको डिफॉल्ट पे एक्सेस पैसा मिल जाता है. इंडिया में पीपल आर काइंड ऑफ बैड डेट्स आर लेसर. अभी पता नहीं अभी NPA का क्या स्टेटस होगा, बट जनरली पीपल पे बैक. इंडिया में पीपल,
बट ये तो बुरी आदत हो जाती है ना. लाइक देयर वाज अ स्टार्ट सेइंग कि 7 out of 10 iPhones bought in India are on EMIs.
Because EMIs are easy, It's not because people need the money. I don't think it's because people borrowed because they didn't have it. Some of them did, but most of them did because EMIs are just convenient. Why would you not? Why would you push out payment later, na? But that's the thing. You're right. It could be dangerous. But I think from a business standpoint, I think it's a big opportunity.
Yeah.
Big opportunity.
And like you knew that beforehand कि अच्छा if I'm launching a trimmer तो
No.
I should
No. 99% of things that I say right now, Ishan, to sound smart, I found out later. None of them I predicted. None of them. ये तो मैं हो रहा है इसलिए बता रहा हूँ तेरे को. I might sound like मेरे को पता था. बिल्कुल नहीं पता था. वही है, मार्केट की सुननी चाहिए.
Where do you observe all these trends? Like you read Twitter और
नहीं ट्रिमर और EMI तो मेरे को दिख जाता है ना डेटा. तो मेरे वरुण नाम का एक हमारा सबसे एनालिटिकल चीफ ग्रोथ ऑफिसर है. वो तो इफ आई हैव अ 10-minute कॉन्वर्सेशन विद हिम, मेरे को 4 इनसाइट्स निकल जाती है उसमें. वो इतना डेटा दिखता है.
कैसे हायर किया उसको?
हाँ,
आपने उसे कैसे हायर किया?
Varun actually ex-HUL, Pepsi, RPSG group, and then he came to us. He was recommended by a good friend of mine. They used to be colleagues, and we were looking for this role, and he said, "Yeah, he's a good guy,
Hmm.
absolutely bang on.
And you just like judged him on the basis of how smart he is, like you just mentioned.
So 2-3 references. One is references work for me a lot. Interviews don't work, conversations work, and references work. If 2 or 3 people whose work ethic / smartness I respect a lot, if they say कि कोई इंसान बहुत ही तेज है या फिर बहुत ही मेहनती है, फिर बहुत ही बढ़िया काम करेगा इस चीज़ में, then for me that's 90% of the decision. Then I have to just convince that person to join. Then it's a more commercial attractiveness of the offer than an evaluation. But in Varun's case, I think we actually tried to recruit him. Once we failed because he didn't want to leave. And then once we had a little more financial flex, then Varun was able to come on board. But one of the, he's built out a lot of good stuff at the company. A lot of people, a lot of senior people, even folks who joined as interns who kind of grew into the company. High performers create impact at.
What did they have that helped them do that?
I think they don't leave any stone unturned. They are the no stone unturned people. I call them that. कि अगर कुछ करना है तो fight तेजी से मारेंगे वो लोग. Like they will throw 100 ideas at the wall. They will not let failure come in the way. They will create energy for people around them. They are very they exhaust all options to get something done. So they're very like Arjun ka wo hai na, eye of the parrot. They're very focused that way.
Do you think good interns like these make for great founders?
Yes. I think it's the best skill to have. I think founders who also have no stone unturned philosophy will find their way to value. So, and they also will end up showing people who work for them how to do it. So वैसा है. People who give up they just don't survive long enough to be good founders. I think one of the most underspoken about trait of founders is survival. They can go through shit, but they'll survive. And if you survive, you will thrive. I think most companies who have been exceptionally successful have done that because they just waited and waited for the time to come. And when growth paradox hai na wo, that growth always takes much longer to happen than you assume, but when it happens much faster than you assume. So you don't have to wait for your time to come, but not stupidly. Like if you're hitting your head against a wall and the wall's never going to break, then you have to walk away at some point. But for the most part, don't give up prematurely. And that inherent no stone unturned mindset allows people to.
But when to know that you're banging the head against the wall or there's actually something interesting?
I have thought about this a lot. At what point do you give up?
Yeah.
इस पे मेरे को clear answer नहीं है, Ishan, frankly. I think
gut feeling. What?
I think if your core well-wishers, strong core well-wishers are telling you over and over again over a sustained period of time that this is not going to work, and your ego is telling you that it will, but your logic is not, then you have to step back and reflect. But if your logic is telling you it will, but logic of 10 other smart people is telling you it's not, then you have to see whose logic is stronger. And sometimes founders' logic is just stronger. Like Zomato is a classic example. Blinkit is a classic example.
How so?
Everyone said quick commerce में पैसे कहाँ बनेंगे? पैसे कहाँ बनेंगे? 400 रुपए का तो ऑर्डर होता है रिटेल में. ईशान कहाँ बनेंगे पैसे बताओ? कहाँ बनेंगे? किसने बोला था कि गिफ्टिंग यूज केस बन जाएगा इतना बड़ा कि तुम्हारा एवरेज कार्ट ऑर्डर विल गो फ्रॉम 400 to 900, कि तुम्हारा डिलीवरी टाइम थी कि लोग आईफोन खरीदने लग जाएंगे इस पे. आईफोन 16 मिल रहा है यार ब्लिंकिट पे 10 मिनट में. ब्लिंकिट ज़ेप्टो ऑल दीस गाइस. सो दे हैव टर्न्ड द बिजनेस मॉडल ऑन इट्स हेड. So every modern trade and retail and FMCG CEO in March of 22, when I think Zomato was buying Blinkit, had written it off कि boss ये तो पैसे बनाएगा नहीं, खुद लॉस मेकिंग, इतनी बड़ी लॉस मेकिंग एंटिटी खरीद रहा है, ये है वो है. Look at what's happened today. Because they didn't foresee. So kudos to Dipinder and Albinder for kind of foreseeing what a lot of people would have rubbished had they given up because of naysayers. So, but at that time they would have evaluated what is my logic saying, what is the logic of these, and it must be amazingly difficult to look at 10 such crazy दिग्गज experts who are saying कि यार तो होगा ही नहीं, क्योंकि डीमार्ट भी 10% मार्जिन ही कमाता है. 400 रुपये पे तुम 440 रुपये बनाओगे तो उतना तो फ्यूल कॉस्ट है 70 रुपये का, तो पैसे कहाँ बनेंगे? वैलिड क्वेश्चन, वेरी वैलिड क्वेश्चन. बट व्हेन द बिजनेस टर्न्स अपसाइड डाउन and the fuel cost becomes electric vehicle cost and cart size goes up by 3x. Suddenly you have wiggle room which you didn't have before. I think sometimes you have to back. But I don't know. Answer नहीं पता मेरे को यार कि when do you stop? I think you have to back logic one way or the other. Objective. Stay objective and keep ego out of the room. I guess that's the only answer.
What's one question that Shantanu would ask? He was in my shoes.
Ask me.
If you were in the shoes of Ishan Sharma, what question would you ask yourself?
Ask myself. Good question.
The last time I asked this question to Ashneer, he said कि भाई खाना पीना पूछ लेता मेरे को तेरे से बात question पूछ रहा है.
You can expect Ashneer to say that. No, I think a lot of people ask me whether how I'm able to do so many things, right? Which is I play an advisor role at a private equity fund, Advent. I love that. They're such wonderful people. Their companies are wonderful. I play an advisor role at McKinsey whenever they want me to come and advise on consulting, consumer clients. Within my company, I run 4 companies. So I run Bombay Shaving Company, which is the main brand, Bombay, which is our newer brand for women. I run 100 Days, which is our digital agency for bringing brands online. And I run the barbershop, which is a full content effort, right? And I am an ambassador Olympic Gold Quest. And I do angel investing through the barbershop syndicate, which is 30 crores of angel money. तो ये 7-8 चीज़ें मैं करता हूँ. तो people think कि how do I find time to do it? And that's the question I would ask कि यार you do all of these things.
क्या है आंसर?
But frankly इसमें मेरा ये है कि मेरे को एनर्जी ना प्लूरैलिटी से मिलती है. मेरे को सिंगुलैरिटी से एनर्जी आजकल नहीं मिलती. मेरे को बहुत
सिंगुलैरिटी मतलब एक
ही चीज़ करना. एक ही चीज़ करने से मेरे को एनर्जी एग्जॉस्ट हो जाती है मेरी. पहले बहुत आती थी.
बोर हो जाते हो आप?
बोर नहीं होता मैं एग्जॉस्ट होता हूँ. मेरे को आई थिंक it's an age thing. I think as people get older, I think they prefer breadth over depth. I think maybe I prefer. So I feel like I can add. I feel like इसके बाद someone else can do this work. इस पे अब मेरा my time is now not getting ROI. I can hire someone to do the job. And then let me move on to something more. Maybe it's a McKinsey DNA. Because every 4 months you change projects, you learn something new. So maybe it's that, I don't know. But today I think I derive max energy and I'm able to create max outcomes because I've created plurality in my life. I'm now getting involved in government in some ways. I cannot discuss it here, but there are 2-3 things I want to do with the government of India as an advisor. I want to get involved with my father. He does a lot of work on in TiECon with entrepreneurs. तो वो करना है मेरे को. इन सारी चीज़ों से मेरे को जो learnings मिलती हैं, I'm able to dissipate them back into either my podcast or to my team at Bombay.
याद कैसे रखते हो सारी learnings और insights आप?
यार मैं
लिखते हो कहीं पे आप या? मैं
लिखता नहीं हूँ.
Voice notes?
नहीं. I'm not a documenter of insights. I'm a regurgitator of insights. Ruminator of insights. So for example, I've spoken to you. This conversation will stay in my mind for a while. Then I will see it whenever you release it. Then I will think about it. I will definitely, for example, I'll tell you what has stayed with me, right? The fact that your father and mother decided to come with you to Bangalore.
Yeah.
And did not make a hue and cry about a decision as big as dropping out of a college as prestigious as Brits Pilani. And the fact that he, kind of was such a growth-minded human being, still is what will stay with me. So I'm thinking, okay, this is what Gen Z parents, especially such high-flying people like you, parents of Gen Z kids also have to enable them in interesting ways. Right?
I think my case is very particular because my parents actually saw me working with obsession. अगर आप मेरा रूम खोलोगे at midnight hour in 2020 middle, you'll see me either editing a video or learning something or the other.
तो वो फीडबैक मिलता है ना, आपने वीडियो डाला उसको वायरल हो गया होगा,
तो उनको वही दिख रहा था कि ये कुछ ना कुछ तो कर रहा है घर में बैठ के,
टाइम पास दिख रहा है,
मक्खियाँ नहीं मार रहा है.
करेक्ट. ऑल्सो लाइक फॉर एग्जाम्पल आई सी रोहित कपूर, ही इज द CEO of Instamart, a phenomenally successful executive in his own right, but a large part of his life today is being the caddy for his golfer daughter. Her name is Naina, and she's one of the most upcoming talented golfers in her age bracket in women in India. And he takes her for tournaments and this and that. I think for me, I started seeing what what parents of teenagers or young people like you, what they're doing to enable their children. So that's one thing I'll take away from this conversation. The second thing I learned from you today is about how you and a co-founder of yours decided to just write a book and reach out as 19-year-olds to like CEOs and go and take interviews. I have not been able to do that.
Yeah.
Like 90% of people who I invite on the barbershop just don't respond to my messages. So I don't know how you ended up going to their office. ये तो बहुत like ये तो मतलब it's very commendable.
Yeah.
So I have to think यार ये कुछ तो कर रहा होगा जो मेरे को नहीं आता, या तो मैं गिव अप मार लेता हूँ या फिर मैं ईगो पे ले लेता हूँ या फिर मेरे को लगता है कि अभी नहीं बोला है तो फिर
गिव अप नहीं किया, आई थिंक
इंटरेस्टेड ही नहीं होगा ये
वीवर लाइक अ लीच चिपक गया.
हाँ so
चेप हो गया. करना है.
So it's very endearing. It's a very endearing quality. So these 2-3 things will stay with me.
Right.
I'll ruminate over them. I'll think यार इसमें से मैं क्या सीख सकता हूँ. And then I'll come back to you. And maybe I am hoping this is not the first of many conversations. I would love to kind of go deeper with you on a lot of other things and so on. So
yeah.
For me, I invest a lot in relationships. People who I'm close to, I stay close to for like मैं easily phone उठा लेता हूँ लोगों के. Like I'm not unreachable. Like I don't know whether you noticed, but our WhatsApp chats are very quick.
Yeah, that was actually unconventional.
हाँ, very very quick, like very quick. So today morning one of my bosses from McKinsey from 2014 was messaging me. मैंने सीधा कॉल कर लिया उसको. क्या कर रहे हो? बोलते मैं दिल्ली में हूँ. मैं मिलो ना फिर. बोलते अच्छा हाँ ये तो बढ़िया है. मैं 7:30 बजे कोई नहीं कर रहा कुछ. या तो टॉयलेट में बैठे हो या फिर पेपर पढ़ रहे हो, चाय पी रहे हो. क्या कर रहा है इंसान ऐसा. बोलता हाँ सही तो वेडनेसडे आई एम मीटिंग फॉर डिनर. तो मेरा ये है क्या है. I just make sure that I spend time with good people all the time.
Incredible. Shantanu, thank you so much for
Thank
taking
you,
out the time.
This has been
This was amazing.
Valuable for me, and
I hope people learned a thing or two from this conversation.
I wish I was a little more articulate because I have been tired all day. Like I was talking throughout, so I have talking fatigue right now. I'm hoping your mics have captured what I said.
Absolutely.
Well. But I hope your listeners enjoy, and I hope they continue to cheerlead you. And you're doing amazing work. I hope I will reach out to you offline for marketing, working together on our content and our brands also. But young people like you are truly, your hustle, your hard work. You're such a nice human being. You came down to pick me up, and I was not able to find the studio. Smiling, you've been waiting for me for an hour. Truly, you epitomize what is entrepreneurial and good about being a professional. That's really
You're too kind, but thank you so much.
My pleasure.
Thank you so much. Thank you for people who are listening this for I think the last 1.5 hours.
We're short for a while. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much for watching. We will see you in the next one. Share this with your friends. Socials are in the description, and we'll see you again.
Thank you.
Bye.
See you.